And so we reconvene. How lovely it is to see you. It's Euclid, if you haven't heard this annoying voice before. So, just a disclaimer here. This video will be all over the place in terms of tone. A little bit of self-deprecation here, a little bit of heartfelt warmth there. You know how I am. I can lay it on thick with my self-deprecation. You know, kings would keep court jesters around just to poke fun at themselves. If they got pissed off and killed the court jester over an insult, they'd prove themselves to be a tyrant. I suppose I'm my own court jester, although I'm hardly a king. Yet. So, as some of you may know, I'm Euclid. Or, if you want to be a thespian, EuclidClassDunmer. Although, I have been considering a name change as I've moved on from SCP, if that hasn't made itself apparent. That aside, you may remember me from my various low-budget adventures that would make Turkish Star Wars blush, cringe husbando ASMR audios, my time as a creepypasta narrator, the Devil May Cry William Blake stuff, and very, very feeble attempts to create my own alternate history universe. I've reflected on a lot of things in my life, and in my humble and honest opinion, I think I finally found what I truly wish to do. World building and storytelling. I'm a high-functioning autistic guy, mid-20s. If I was a singer, I'd probably be called a spergissimo. Sorry, little joke. Due to my condition, I like categorizing things. This isn't always apparent in autistic individuals, but it's a common symptom. I've done it ever since I could remember, really. My first real thing I was into was biology and animals. I had this one book when I was 8, that would sort animals based on kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Then came history and folklore, as well as the lore of various video games and other franchises. And I guess now, my own things to categorize, like fictional characters and fictional countries. One thing I really do love is a good story. And my previous setting, called the Consortium, was sort of a fantasy meets alternate history in a sort of Earth, but not really. I've since burned it to the damn ground, in favor of something I've not felt this strongly about since, well, a long time. The idea for my new setting, called Wyvern Detachment, arose when I was playing Fallout 4, with a certain revolver mod that had caught my eye. This particular mod was called the Ducal Guard Service Revolver, which was a weapon that was inspired by The Witcher 3's Blood and Wine DLC. I believe it's still in the Nexus. The DLC for The Witcher 3, Blood and Wine, was truly an experience for me back in the day. Toussaint's landscape, culture, and characters really stuck with me, as well as The Witcher 3 as a whole. When I saw that revolver mod, it reminded me of French revolvers like the Chamelot Delvine or Model 1892. And it made me think of a Toussaint hundreds of years into the future, where the knightly culture is still preserved while technology progresses. It made me think about the world, our world, a little before World War I. This was known in France as the Belle Epoque, and in Britain it was known as the Edwardian period. And in the good old US of A, it was known as the Progressive Era. I imagined a world that had just started to industrialize, while also maintaining older traditions and fantasy elements like knights, shamans, magic, and monsters. I eventually came up with original characters, new countries that are roughly based on real cultures but with fantasy twists, and things like a magic system, gods, mystical races, you name it. The belief system in my setting is roughly based on the ancient Persian religion known as Zoroastrianism, with little bits of terminology from Gnostic Christianity like Gnosis or Archon. Each god in my setting is a sort of manifestation of a greater being, except those who take the place of specific gods. I then started to flesh out the world my characters would live in, and eventually, here I am today. If you want a general gist of what I have, it's basically Dishonored, Fullmetal Alchemist, Valkyria Chronicles, rough real-world approximations, The Witcher, and my signature love of catgirls. Sue me. I've been working on this setting for at the very least 2 years. And despite the library I've written out so far, I still think it's very much a work in progress and some things still need to be ironed out. After so many years of making content and not really doing it with any particular aim, I've decided I want to dedicate it all to pursuing what makes me the happiest, not what rakes in the most views. I'll admit, I get that little dopamine rush any content creator gets in their videos or pictures, but I feel committed to my own characters, creative vision, and world above all else. As well as becoming a better voice actor, of course. I do eventually want to make an audio drama and a game out of this, after all. This was just a little video to tell you why I've shifted my content towards world building and how much it means to me. Thank you so much, guys. I hope to see you in the next one.